We have traced where the money from the perpetrators went and are investigating whether any of the money ended up in the hands of terrorists. Treasury is here today because this is what we do. We follow the money.
In the 24th of April, 2026, an unprecedented $42 billion financial breach has just been exposed. The FBI has deployed 350 specialized forensic accountants alongside 800 field agents to decapitate a laundering monster. We are tracking 1,200 suspicious activity reports, proving that cartel black cash has contaminated 8% of all private pension portfolios in the Sunbelt. Deputy Director Dan Bonino is sounding the alarm on a financial invasion, revealing that your 401k is being used as a high-speed laundry machine for the world's most violent syndicates. Over 450 senior living developments are now under federal lien, suspected of being built on a foundation of fentanyl blood money. This isn't just a market risk, it's a total systemic betrayal. Is your life savings funding the very cartels destroying our streets? Smash like and subscribe as we expose the shadow bankers.
My whole world crashed in. It has completely changed my life. Completely. I don't trust anybody now.
The establishment is desperate to protect. The American retirement dream was never supposed to be a casualty of the drug war. But on the 24th of April, 2026, that illusion shattered. The FBI's Forensic Division just pulled the curtain back on a $42 billion sinkhole that has swallowed the security of millions. This isn't a standard case of embezzlement. This is Operation Dark Wire, a surgical strike against a financial parasite that has been feeding on the American worker for over a decade. For months, the FBI's Financial Crimes Task Force, a powerhouse unit of 350 forensic auditors, has been quietly tracing digital echoes through the nation's most trusted brokerage firms. What they found was a nightmare scenario for anyone over the age of 50. International narcotics syndicates didn't just break into our banks, they moved in. By exploiting outdated regulatory loopholes, they've managed to infect 8% of private pension portfolios across the Sunbelt. From Florida to Arizona, the money you've spent 40 years accumulating is being mixed with the proceeds of the fentanyl trade. Deputy Director Dan Bonino's team has identified 1,200 separate suspicious activity reports that point to a singular, terrifying strategy: the liquidity swap. Here is how the shadow bankers did it. Cartels have mountains of dirty cash that they cannot spend. They need clean, digital credits. By infiltrating mid-level asset management firms, they offered high-speed liquidity to struggling funds. Your legitimate pension contributions were swapped for cartel cash in offshore accounts. On your monthly statement, the numbers look the same. But in reality, your retirement security is now backed by the very poison destroying American families. The scale of this financial invasion is unprecedented. We are talking about a systemic breach where 800 field agents are currently executing simultaneous raids on secondary financial hubs. These aren't the big names on Wall Street. These are the boutique firms that manage the 401 calavies of local unions, teachers, and small business owners. The FBI's investigation reveals that these firms were allegedly paid incentive fees to prioritize certain investment vehicles that were secretly controlled by cartel front companies. But the most visible evidence of this betrayal is sitting right in our own neighborhoods. 450 luxury senior living developments have just been placed under federal lien. These aren't just buildings, they are monuments to money laundering. These facilities were constructed at lightning speed, often outbidding legitimate developers with all-cash offers that should have raised every red flag in the industry. FBI investigators believe these estates were used to park billions in narcotics revenue, turning the peaceful retirement of our seniors into a protective shield for illegal assets. The FBI is now hunting for the ghost accountants, the elite white-collar criminals who designed this architecture of deceit. These individuals didn't use guns. They used encrypted ledger entries and shell company cascades to hide the origin of the funds. They knew that law enforcement rarely looks at conservative retirement investments for drug money. They were wrong. The 1,200 intercepts currently being analyzed by Federal HQ suggest that the brain of this operation is located right here on American soil, operating from within the very institutions we are taught to trust. As the sun sets on the first day of this massive crackdown, one question haunts every investigator. How deep does the rot go? If 8% of the Sun Belt's pensions are already compromised, is any fund truly safe? This is no longer a drug problem. It is a full-scale assault on the American financial system. The cartels have found a way to make every American retiree an unwitting partner in their crimes. The hunt for the shadow bankers is no longer just about justice. It is about the survival of the American dream. The reckoning has arrived, and the walls of the financial fortress are finally coming down. If the digital theft of 401ks was the silent strike, the takeover of the American senior living industry is the physical occupation. Part 2 of this investigation takes us inside the 450 luxury estates currently surrounded by federal tape. These aren't just high-end retirement homes. The FBI has identified them as strategic asset vaults. For the cartels, buying a luxury senior living facility in Florida or Arizona isn't just about laundering money, it's about buying immunity. Federal investigators have uncovered a chilling pattern. Over the last 5 years, a wave of anonymous, private equity groups began outbidding every local developer for land zoned for senior care. They weren't looking for a return on investment. They were looking for a dead zone. Because these facilities are private medical residences, they are protected by strict privacy laws and HIPAA regulations. The FBI's 800 field agents have discovered that these shadow landlords use these legal protections as a shield to move massive quantities of black cash under the guise of medical supplies and construction costs. The numbers are staggering. In 215 of the raided facilities, forensic accountants found ghost payrolls totaling over $140 million. These were payments made to non-existent employees, consultants, and medical contractors that were actually high-ranking cartel lieutenants living under deep cover within the United States. They weren't just hiding the money. They were living amongst our parents and grandparents, using the quiet, gated security of American suburbs to manage global narcotics distribution. Deputy Director Dan Bonino's team has focused on one specific piece of evidence: the double ledger. In a raid on a management office in Scottsdale, Arizona, agents found a physical safe containing a blue book, a manual ledger that tracked the real flow of cash. It revealed that while the public-facing books showed a struggling retirement home, the inner office was processing $5 million a week in untraceable currency. This cash was being layered into the facility's expansion projects. Every new wing built, every garden landscaped, and every pool installed was another opportunity to turn blood money into clean real estate equity. But the most heartbreaking discovery was the senior proxy scheme. The FBI has identified 3,200 individual accounts where the identities of residents, some suffering from advanced dementia, were used to open offshore shell companies. These seniors became CEOs of international laundering hubs without ever knowing it. Their social security numbers were the keys that unlocked the global banking system for the cartels. When the FBI began their 1,200 suspicious activity audits, they found 9 0-year-old veterans, allegedly trading millions in high-risk crypto derivatives from their bedside. The 600 active whistleblower tips currently flooding the Bureau's hotline are coming from the frontline witnesses, the nurses, janitors, and kitchen staff who saw things that didn't add up. They reported seeing delivery trucks arriving at 4 a.m. with no logos, unloading heavy crates that never made it to the pharmacy. They reported investors in $5,000 suits visiting the basement server rooms more often than they visited the residents. This is the financial invasion in its most predatory form. The cartels didn't just steal the money, they stole the sanctity of old age. They turned the final chapter of American life into a camouflage for the world's most violent business. As the FBI moves to seize these 450 properties, the legal battle is just beginning. The shadow landlords have hired the most expensive defense firms in Washington to fight the seizures, claiming regulatory overreach. But as the forensic evidence mounts, the truth is becoming impossible to ignore. The house your parents are living in might have been built by the very hands that are flooding our streets with poison. The ghost landlords are being hunted, and the sanctuary is officially closed. The final phase of Operation Dark Wire has moved from the gated suburbs to the glass towers of power. As the sun sets on the most aggressive financial crackdown in FBI history, the focus has shifted to the architects, the elite, American-born fixers who facilitated this $42 billion betrayal. The FBI's 350 forensic auditors have finally cracked the encryption wall, revealing that this wasn't just a cartel infiltration, it was a hosted event. The shadow bankers didn't break in. They were handed the keys by professionals who prioritized commission over country. In the early hours of this morning, federal agents executed 75 simultaneous no-knock warrants on the private residences of top-tier fund managers and compliance officers. These individuals are the connective tissue between the street-level poison and the high-level pension funds. Deputy Director Dan Bonino confirmed that the 1,200 suspicious intercepts included signal messages between cartel lieutenants and U.S. brokers, discussing the sanitization of assets. The terminology used was chillingly corporate. Narcotics revenue was referred to as yield, and the contamination of 401k funds was called diversification. The scale of the forensic reckoning is now coming to light. The FBI has uncovered a digital backdoor in the software used by several mid-sized brokerage firms, a literal laundering algorithm designed to automatically split large narcotics deposits into thousands of micro-contributions. These tiny drops were then sprinkled across 8% of the Sunbelt's private pension portfolios, making them virtually invisible to standard regulatory red flag systems. This is why your retirement statement looked normal while the system was rotting from within. It was a high-tech heist designed to stay below the radar of the SEC and the Treasury. But the most explosive revelation involves the legislative fixers. Among the 600 active whistleblower tips, a significant number point toward dark money lobbying efforts in Washington. These efforts were allegedly designed to weaken the reporting requirements for specialty real estate and private senior care facilities, the very two sectors the cartels used as their primary laundry machines. The FBI is now investigating whether campaign contributions from anonymous LLCs were used to buy the political silence that allowed this $42 billion cancer to grow. The fallout is already destabilizing the market. As the FBI places 450 senior living estates and multiple brokerage houses under federal lien, the shadow bankers are scrambling to liquidate. We are seeing a massive data burn, a desperate attempt by the architects to wipe servers and shred paper trails before the 800 field agents arrive. But it's too late. The Bureau's Cyber Task Force has already cloned the ghost ledgers, and the names being surfaced are sending shockwaves through the financial establishment. We aren't just talking about criminals. We are talking about people who sat on the boards of charities, hospitals, and universities. This is the total systemic betrayal Dan Bonino warned about. The cartels didn't just want your money. They wanted to become part of the American fabric so they could never be removed. They wanted to make their survival synonymous with your retirement. But they underestimated the forensic tenacity of a new generation of federal agents who refused to let the shadow protocol stand. The message from the FBI today is clear. There is no fund too large to be audited, no broker too rich to be indicted, and no shadow bank too deep to be exposed. The reckoning has moved beyond the borders and into the boardrooms. As the first round of grand jury indictments is unsealed, the American public is finally seeing the face of the enemy, and it looks nothing like what we were told. It looks like a suit, a tie, and a digital signature. The dark wire has been cut. The ghost bankers are being dragged into the light, and the battle to reclaim the American dream from the grip of the global syndicates has only just begun. Stay vigilant. The truth is no longer hidden. It's being audited. The $42 billion paper trail ends here, but the fallout is just beginning. What we've uncovered is a chilling new reality. The cartels are no longer just at our borders. They are in our boardrooms, our bank accounts, and the very homes where our parents seek peace. With 8% of the Sunbelt's pensions compromised and 450 senior estates under federal lien, the financial invasion is the ultimate wake-up call for every American over 50. The FBI's 1,200 intercepts have pulled back the curtain on a systemic betrayal that turned your 401 kick into a narcotics laundry machine. As the 350 forensic auditors continue to dismantle the dark wire and the 600 whistleblower tips reveal more ghost bankers, we have to ask, who else is on the cartel's payroll? This isn't just about a drug bust, it's about reclaiming the American dream from those who sold it out for blood money. The shadow protocol has been exposed, and the reckoning is non-negotiable. Stay vigilant, protect your assets, and keep demanding the truth. The fortress is falling, And we will be here to document every name that comes to light. Follow the money before it's gone.